Hey, Bubba Washington here. Join me this week as we take a westward journey to discover the Pacific Ocean in this week's game review, Lewis and Clark: The Expedition, designed by Cedric Chibouche and published by Asmodee. All right, let's take a look at how we're going to set up a solo game for Lewis and Clark. As you can see, the board, it's a beautiful board, and it's got a lot of stuff going on, and it's kind of really busy. But once I go over how everything's set up and explained what the different action spaces are, it'll make a little bit more sense, and then you'll really see and get a better appreciation of just how wonderful the board looks with this artwork on here. First of all, let's just talk about what different things are. The most obvious things are your resources up here. Different piles for your wood and your fur and your food and your stone. And we also have resources for canoes and horses, and those will come into play later in the game. When you start out the game, you'll have you'll place the resources there, and you'll take these little tokens that you can see right here. And for a single player game, you'll place them on the corresponding spots on the different board. And I'll cover that what these tokens will actually do for you later on in the game. From there, you'll take the upgrade boats right here and place them down here, and then you'll have your explorer cards of the people you'll meet. And the way this works is you'll deal out 5 cards, arranging them in order from the strength that is up in the corner of the card, from lowest to highest. And then from there, you'll have your natives, Americans, down here that you'll. I just like to place them off to the side, but normally you'll just have one of them starts off here, and these are kind of off the board. And I just keep them on the compass because it's a little easier. Then you have your individual boat board, and from here you'll have 3 starting resources of 1 stone, 1 food, and 1 fur. And then you'll have your hand of starting cards right here, and then you're ready to begin at the game. So the way the game works, before we get into the game, let's cover the spaces on the board, what they can do. This space right here, there's little circles in white, and you really can't see them on camera very well. But a single full complete circle indicates that 1 Native American can go there at a time, whereas some of them that are kind of like on the canoe area and the horse area, there's like a half circle, and that indicates more than 1 can go there. So let's go. We'll start down here. This right here, you're allowed to trade 3 wood resources into a boat upgrade. Right here, you can discard 3 cards from your hand to clear out these explorer rows to get new cards in here if you're not particularly happy with these. Right here allows you to get either 2 fur or 2 lumber. Right here gets you a stone and a lumber. Right here gets you a food and a fur. And right here allows you to trade 2 lumber into a canoe. And then this one allows you to trade 3 different resources into a horse. Now later on, you'll need these as you're traveling up along the river. Now the track that you're racing along is this river right here that goes up along here and through the mountains and up the way onto the Pacific. You start down here in St. Louis, and on the river spaces they're divided in here. And like I said, you can't see this really good on the map right here, but when you're up close, you can actually see it better. And then from here, like I said, these are the explorer cards indicating people you'll meet along the way as you're going through your travels. So the way the explorer cards work is they have a cost associated with them, and it's usually 1 equipment per, the equipment costs however much the strength is. In this case, this one is 3, and in this case is 1. And the equipment is represented by discarding these cards here on the back that indicate how much equipment each one is worth. And usually it's indicated by how many Native Americans you have on here. Like this one indicates 1 Native American, so it's worth 1 equipment. And then there's also a number of food resources. Fur resources, and it starts from 5 and it goes down to 1. It's a sliding scale. So let's go ahead to how your turn's going to start off. First off, you'll start off with, you have to take an action. You either can play a card from your hand, or you can place an action on the board. The way you play a card from your hand is you're not just playing 1 card. You're actually trying to boost the card with either your Native American figures that you've collected, or through these cards. Like as you can see, these cards are double-sided. On the side right here, where there's outlines of Native American tokens, these actually help you boost your cards. So if I'm going to play, say for instance, I wanted to collect some food, I can boost that by playing one card face down right here, and then playing my food gathering thing. Which I've essentially done is I boosted this, and this allows me to collect, the appropriate number of food resources. Now you can boost it with cards, and you can also boost these with additional tokens. Say I can place another token down here, and now I'm boosting it by 2 instead of 1, and it allows me to collect resources. The resources go down in my boat rehom area down here. Now you have a limited number of resources you can carry. Once again, the iconography on this player board doesn't show up very well on camera, but there's little white hexagons right here. You can only carry the stuff you can fill in there. So once you fill in there, you're kind of stuck. That's why the upgrades to your boats are pretty valuable. But the thing about this is the more stuff you carry, the slower you get slowed down, and we'll cover how that works when we were actually talking about how we're moving along the river track. So those are the card actions. Now, say you didn't want to play a card action. Say you wanted to go out here and gather, we wanted to gather 2 fur. Well, we replace our Native American token right here, and we'll be either gather, 2 fur or 2 wood. Now, though there's something a little bit different as opposed to a multiplayer game that the single game represents. And we're going to go back to the way we would play a card. When we play a card, there's little symbols up here in the corner of each card that indicate, apply a multiplier to how many resources we can connect. For the first time, like the first card I played, I only had one. I had one Native American boosting it by the number of symbols, and in this case, it was only 1. Now, in the single player game, when you have a spot occupied on the board by one of your Native American tokens, those symbols also come into effect too. So this space is occupied with, here's 1, and I have another 1. So if I play this 1, now I'm playing it 2. I can gather up 2 resources. If I boosted this another one with another Native American, now I can gather 4, and and then if I did it for 3, I can go for 6. Now that's all well and good. And like I said, that simulates how it is in the multiplayer game, because in the multiplayer game, you're looking for card symbols on either side, your left or right neighbor, what's in their tableau, as far as what kind of card symbols that you can allow your boosts and stuff like that. So it replicates that pretty well. Now, after we've taken our action, there's other actions we can do. Another option. These are all optional right here. But what we can do is we can also recruit one of these cards, and we're kind of building a deck along, because as you play your cards down here, you can't pick them up until you take a particular action that allows you to do that. So you can recruit members along here, and as you recruit them, like say you went for this guy, they shift down and new people come out, and that's just how they move. And it goes immediately into your hand, and you can utilize that on your next turn. Also, you can establish your campsite. So the way that works is, as you're gathering resources and playing a card that allows a movement card right here, this allows you to move up along the river. So you're going to have a scout, and what the scout's going to do is it's going to, as you play, you're going to move along the river ahead of your camp. Now, he's just, like I said, thematically is scouting out the way. This is going to be a little further than your camp, but when you camp, might not necessarily go exactly where your scout is located, and that's due to how much stuff you're carrying. If you're burdened down with a lot of resources, you're going to have to, deal with that. And the way that works is you go up a number of spots, and then you'll count backwards. And the way that you figure that how far you go back is how many cards you have left in your hand. So it's not strategic, obviously, to camp right away every turn, because I have 4 cards in my hand, and I'm immediately moving 4 back. But so you count those up, and you also count up the symbols right here. How many days it is. If I have resources in this boat, it's gonna cost me a day. This boat right here, the second boat, it's gonna cost me a day per resource, and it can hold up to 5 resources. So, like I said, you can get it. The more junk you carry, the slower moving you are. So, what we do is we take the difference between how many movements our scouts moved and how far our camp is. So say for instance we lost 2 days. So our scouts here, well, we just move our camp back to. Okay. So that's how we handle that. There is one unique rule that when a scout moves up, it can't land on the same space as another scout. If it does, it goes to the next space up. And that can actually be pretty beneficial when you get up into the mountains. Because, if you're not prepared to make the change from moving along with canoes to horses, then having that extra, boost helps. So, and also the single player game simulates since you're trying to race to see who's the first one to discover the Pacific Ocean and set up camp there, the single player simulates this by having a dummy character move one space each turn. And that character is supposed to represent Alexander Mackenzie. So after your first turn, he's going to move up. Second turn, he's going to move up, and then you're going to progress. And at first, you'll be like, "Oh, this is crazy." He's 7 moves ahead of me or something like that. But you'll see how as you grow and move your camp and you build your deck and your engine, it's gonna be a pretty tight race. And like I said, the first one if you're able to cross into the Pacific and set up your camp there before the Mackenzie character gets to the Pacific to the end of the map here, you'll win. Most solo games, they try to emulate the opponent for a single player through various methods, whether it be through, a deck of cards that has, when you draw a particular card, it has an action or something you have to take, or it has a predetermined flow chart that it must follow and stuff like that. This game, Lewis and Clark, it's probably have the simplest mechanism I've ever seen to simulate an opponent. And that's basically the little token just moves one spot up along the river track each turn. No matter what, whether it's through the river or through the mountains, it's always one spot. This builds a lot of tension because in the beginning of the game, when you're trying to gather resources, it seems a little bit intimidating because you're seeing this token move, 6 or 7 or 8 spots prior to you even setting out on your first journey up along the river to send your scout out. But as the game progresses and you start catching up, you start to think, well, at first I can overpass this person. It's simple, but once you make that transition from the river to the mountains, it becomes even more challenging. So, like I said, this game does create a lot of tension, and it's just simply beautiful just by moving up one spot. Now, one thing that I thought was interesting, the way that this game also tried to simulate an aspect of a multiplayer game that is kind of unique in the way where it doesn't really have any effect on your gameplay decisions while you're making it, and other than when you're playing a multiplayer game, you have your players either left or your right, and the cards that they play, they have certain symbols on there, and this game's able to replicate that too by the symbols that are in the spots that are in the when a Native American is placed on the board. And if it's occupied, then whatever that symbol token that's on there, it counts as that towards that symbols when you play a card. That I kind of understand why they did that, and try to replicate that part of the gameplay. But in my playthroughs, really, it didn't come in that much into it. I didn't feel like I was missing that key component from the multiplayer game as when I was playing it solo. So that's kind of hit and miss. But like I said, the addition of the token moving and representing Alexander Mackenzie as you move along the track was definitely where this game shines, and the key to the how great this is as a solo game. With that being said, I highly recommend this game. It's a fun game. It's beautiful, beautiful artwork in this game. It's unbelievably how well designed the board is. It looks like a mess when you first look at it, but once you understand where things go and how the game plays, it's really quite intuitive where the locations are on the board, and also where the resources come into play and stuff like that. And I like the fact that they use a little bit of colors that are different than you normally see. You normally see your reds and greens and blues and whatnot, but the shifting colors from like kind of an orange. A pastel pink and, like a light blue and, just even light greens and light purples and stuff like that. It's a unique aspect of that you don't see very often in games, and I kind of really enjoy it. It kind of makes this game stand out a little bit. So once again, Lewis and Clark is a great solo game. I highly recommend it, and if you haven't tried it, definitely pick up a copy. It's well worth your money. Hey, Bubba Washington here. Thanks for taking time out of your day to watch my review of Lewis and Clark, The Expedition. It really means a lot to me that you take time out of your day just to hear what I have to say about this game. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. Also, if you enjoy my solo reviews about board games, then go ahead and subscribe to my channel, Solo Games with Bubba Washington. Also, you can find links in the description below in this video down here to where you can find me on other various forms of social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that mess. Once again, thanks for watching my video. I really appreciate it.